We'll get started in a minute, so. Cool. I got it. Goodness gracious. Gracious, good morning. Good morning. All right. How's everybody doing? Awesome. Good. Good, good, good. Cool. Um. I Today we are going to. Why does the computer keep doing this? Today we're going to finish off what we were going over yesterday, starting with identification of NAV aids. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about ATC instructions, specifically like craft clearances and then lost column scenarios and how we determine how to handle lost column procedures. And then that'll be it for finishing up yesterday's. We will then go into what we have going on today, but honestly, we might I might do a quick review for today, so I'll start off with asking questions about what we've covered the past few days. We'll go into looking at the chart supplements and picking out routes and everything, tech routes. And then I will go into the rest of the information from yesterday, and maybe we'll do like a few lost column scenarios. Tomorrow, or sorry, today it's only I don't know, like 10, 15 PowerPoints, and then Friday there's, you guessed it, none. So for a whole 2 hours, if we get everything done today, tomorrow we'll have to figure out what to do for 2 hours. So I'm gonna kind of slow it down and save Thursday or today's stuff for tomorrow. There is a quiz every Friday, scan a QR code you'll have to do. Doesn't go against you, you guys can work together. You can phone a friend, but it's just kind of a progress check within the class, to see where you're at. Bless you.
Thank you.
So let us go ahead. Yeah, can you guys see that? Computer keeps like blacking out.
There needs to be a couple things added to the facility that list.
Yeah,
Working computer.
yeah, like keyboard, I get it's wireless, it's technology, but I shouldn't have to sit under the desk by the actual computer for it to, work.
Yeah, it sucks.
I'm curious if it's the computer or the monitor that is having the issue though.
Probably just an HDMI cable.
Probably, I don't know. I feel like it's gotten worse, but. Okay, go ahead and. Somebody explain to me what spatial disorientation is.
It's when
Oriented in space.
Yes, correct.
well, that's when your body starts to lie to you when you're in IMC or you don't have any outside references. So you can feel like you're in a climb when you're not, or feel like tumbling back when you're not.
Okay,
I don't know how to exactly define it, but it's when you get
yeah, I mean, it's when your brain and your body are telling you two different things. And you can't tell your orientation in regards to like motion and altitude, attitude, stuff like that. Why, how does spatial disorientation in a general sense occur?
Multitude of things.
Go ahead.
For one example, you could drop your pen.
No, I don't want to know that. What is the science behind why you get disoriented?
Oh,
Why do we feel like we're all over the place?
the human body wasn't meant to fly.
Yes, but what is the science behind that? Answer if you know
well,
it.
one example is when you're flying straight level and you go into a turn and
Are you talking
the
about-
fluid in your ears starts to change.
That's all I want to hear. I just want to hear the fluid in your ears starts to change, and in your skin, and in your eyes. So what are those three systems called?
Vestibular.
The vestibular is going to be which one? I'm gonna turn this off so you guys can't see. I'm gonna pull it up to ask a question.
Vestibular is, that's the ear one, right?
Yes,
Visual
visual.
and some
So it's a sensory.
that's what okay.
And that's which one?
Skin and muscles, right?
Mhm. Yep, skin, muscles, nerves.
Stimulus inner ear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, spatial disorientation. Lack of orientation with regard to position, attitude, and movement. Vestibular, some with ear, some with sensory, nerve, skin, muscle, and eye, visual eyes. What are the different, does somebody feel comfortable enough to get up there and write out all of the different types of spatial disorientations, all the different types of illusions?
I could,
I know some of them.
if I need help, then I'll phone you.
It's broken up into the acronyms into 2 words, so one of you could do one word, one of you could do the others.
I claim my flags. Good luck with the other word.
Well, that is the only, that's ice.
No, it's ice. I call
Flags.
ice.
Oh, sorry. See, you missed out. He's doing ice, you're doing flags.
I'm surprised you weren't talking like runway illusions.
technically, that's not a spatial disorientation,
Uh, it's a visual disorientation.
but you can see. The whole thing with all of these being part of visual is that you can't see. The outside the airplane is gray, so you don't know where you're at. But with the runway illusion, you can see outside the plane, you can see the runway.
C is incorrect. I mean,
What is it?
Coriolis.
Ah,
Technically, what's the one with the dancing lights? What's that one called again?
Autokinesis, but I get what you're saying. If you look at a light, let me think how to word this. Just give me a second. The key is lack of orientation. If you are, every time you come into land, are you disoriented? When you look at that runway, or if you go to Catalina and it's a little bit angled, are you like, holy shit, I have no idea where I'm at. I don't know what I'm looking at? No.
No.
You can see everything, right? You can look outside to your right, you can see, you can look outside to your left, you can see, look straight, you can see the runways in sight. Autokinesis, you just have a black sky or a very blinding bright cityscape, right?
Yeah.
You are disoriented, and that's the key difference is spatial disorientation. You can't tell where you are.
Yes, you could put that in similarities with false horizon.
Exactly, because you look at it and you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what's real, you don't know what's fake.
You have to
Light.
refer to your instrument.
Is it moving? Is it not moving? You're disoriented.
Mhm.
So that's the difference between the two.
what is it for elevation? It's when you hit an updraft, it feels like
You're climbing.
so you try to pitch down, right?
Okay.
And it's like same thing for downdrafts too.
Same for that
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, I don't want to go to bed. Most of us do. Yeah, dude.
I don't need to explain this one. Everyone knows what this means.
I don't know, your memory loss. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. No, I can't actually. I actually can't read. I'm just here.
Remind me, means is the one where you're holding a slate turn long enough that your body tells you it's straight.
Yeah, pretty sure. Is Coriolis right? Did I put that right? Like a change from a standing rate constant turn feel like a turn in the opposite direction?
Pretty sure.
It's straight and level.
I get these two mixed up.
It's
or
when you
these two
change from
mixed
a
up all the
standard
time.
rate to
According to
straight
the
straight
level.
level.
Then it feels like, okay.
Because the fluid in your ears like set in that position, so when you go to straight and level, it's gonna feel like you're turning in the opposite direction, causing you to go. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, look at you. Did you pass a private pilot ground portion for check riders?
Fuck no. They didn't even ask me about this.
Really?
We just learned this in class, yeah. I didn't even get asked about weather in my private pilot check card.
No weather at
Not a
all?
single weather. I
For
didn't do a
my
weather.
PPL? For my
That's
PPL, the
what
only thing they
the
asked me about was, oh, why am I blinking on it again? Speed downdrafts, pretty much.
That's crazy, dude. I had like an hour at least on weather.
See, that's what I thought. I was so prepared. Like I was diving
so
into
prepared
it.
as well.
And he didn't ask me anything. He's like, all right, you passed.
Did you have Dean?
At Alex. Yeah. And every gouge I got had him talking about weather. You just didn't ask me, he's like, alright, you passed, let's go.
That's crazy, dude.
It's cause the only thing he had to say bad about my oral was on my nav log, instead of actually calculating true airspeed, I kind of just threw in a number because I was lazy.
Damn.
Yeah, and she was like, yeah, it's pretty much the only thing. And then he like couldn't really ask me any questions about my written, so.
What is somatographia? Is that
It's
that's something with gravity?
it's
Your-
G's. It has to do with rapid acceleration and deceleration.
Oh, yeah.
The best way to describe it is when you're launching off of a jet, you're going to feel like you're rapidly pitching up.
Oh, yeah, cause it feels like your head's tilting back or rapid deceleration is like,
Yes.
feel like you're
So you
pitching
feel like
down.
pitching down,
Yeah,
and that is what has killed many pilots.
got it.
That
On like
from-
takeoff?
that take off from like military air carriers.
Oh, cause they're just shooting out and they feel like
Mhm.
they're going like this, they're like.
That's also why they are trained to not put their hands on the controls during takeoff.
Because like naturally they're gonna.
Mm-hmm.
So on takeoff, they just sit like this? They just get fucking shot out?
Yeah, pretty much.
Really? When do they take controls? Like once they're in the air?
We can ask Corey to show a video of it since we have time.
Probably a certain amount of, I'd imagine like a certain amount of feet above the ground. Probably.
It's pretty cool.
I had to do that when I was with my tailwind door.
You got it?
You don't touch the controls?
Alright,
Yeah, I didn't do it all the time, but it's like just hand out the controls and like it feels like you're gonna, no,
Really?
yeah.
alright, first one, ice.
We wrote it.
Who did that? Yeah, explain it.
I wrote it.
Check rides aren't, you're not just gonna write shit on the board, you
I
gotta
like
explain.
writing shit on the board.
Well, you can, but you gotta explain it.
Inversion, that's when you're like pitched down quickly from a climb to a level off. And it feels like you're tumbling and falling backwards.
Okay, and how do pilots sometimes correct for that in a negative way?
They'll pitch up.
Okay, what's next?
Coriolis, it's when you are in a constant standard rate turn and you go straight and level. So after you're in that turn for a while, you go straight and level, fluid in your inner ear. It gets used to the turn,
Mhm.
so it stops moving. So when you turn straight and level, it feels like you're in a turn.
We sure? Or rethink that one?
Hold
Of course
on.
I told them that.
I told you I get leaves and Coriolis mixed up all the time.
Oh,
Is it, oh, the first part is right, you turn,
Yeah.
you're gonna turn long enough, the fluid in your canal stops moving, but if you move your head quickly.
Yes,
You get-
so you look at a different direction, you gotta pick something up, or you go to look at an instrument on the right hand side.
It feels like the.
Can't that happen even outside of a turn? I can do that,
Yeah, I'd
but
say
it's just,
so,
it's just like the example is in a turn,
Yeah.
your fluid stops moving.
yeah.
There's no way to like simulate that right here, right?
Shake your head back and forth really quick,
Spin around in a chair.
I would say that's the closest thing,
Get a headache.
get a headache. Everybody lay on your back on the ground and stand up and jump as quick as you can.
Pass out.
When you were a kid, did you ever just hop in like the chair and just like spin around as fast as you could?
I've never done good with spinning stuff, hence why my spin training was one of the most miserable experiences in my life, so. No, I did
I
not
wanna
do
go to
that.
like a county fair or like, you know, like an amusement park with you.
I like roller coasters.
I'll take you on like the teacup ride.
Oh, hell no. Dude, even the pirate ship back and forth,
Oh, I
like,
hate that one. That one's weird.
dude, I used to be fine when I was a kid
Yeah.
with like that kind of stuff, but like as I've gotten older, like spinning stuff is a no go for
Same thing
me.
like my dad, you know, like my dad, like had to go.
But well, yeah, Papa Corey. Okay, that's better. Coriolis, elevator.
When you hit an updraft and it feels like you're pitching up, so I was trying to correct by pitching down, And then you're just getting yourself into a hazardous attitude,
What if you hit a downdraft?
pitching out. Feel like you're descending.
Cool. My flags person,
Hi.
I,
I let him take
Right.
the bigger word.
It's when you mistake something for a false horizon. Could be darkened terrain next to lighted terrain, making you think that is false horizon. Leans, it's when you hold the turn long enough that you feel straight and level.
okay. And then what happened, what can happen? You're holding the turn long enough. Straight and level, or you feel straight and level. Well, sorry, you hold the turn long enough so you adjust to it, and what happens when you return to straight and level?
You'll feel like you're turning the opposite direction.
And then how do you react?
You try to turn back, which would tighten the turn, leading you to graveyard spiral, potentially.
No, don't make that comparison to graveyard spiral. Leans is just you're in a prolonged turn, you're adjusted to that turn, you go straight and level. It feels like you're now turning to the right, so you go back to the original turn. That's it.
Okay. And then autokinesis is dancing lights, pretty much. It's when there is a light out in the horizon. If you fixate on it, it'll start to like move around.
And what do pilots sometimes do? What mistake do they make?
Thinking it's like a aircraft coming towards them.
Yeah, potentially, but they might use a light to navigate. And if they're fixated on that light and it appears to be moving, let's just say to the right, they think it's moving to the right, they'll start to turn and follow that light. But when in reality, it's taking them off course.
Yeah. And then for graveyard spiral, I put it's an improper correction for leans, because that's pretty much, it is a turn in which you try to correct it. You feel like you're turning in the wrong direction, and then you tighten the turn to fight.
Yeah, so they are very, very similar. They're very similar, but key difference is with this one is the improper correction for loss of altitude. So, right, when you're in that constant rate turn, you go straight and level, it feels like you're now turning the opposite direction. So then to correct for it, you go back to the original turn, but you don't correct for the horizontal component of lift and the loss of vertical component of lift. So you start to descend, right? And then the pilot pulls it, and then that's when you get tighter and tighter and tighter. So that would say that's like the main difference between the two is that the correction for a descent, due to a turn leads to the tighter pull.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last one.
It's about traffic. The best example is I could give is a jet launch. It's when you're rapidly accelerating, it feels like you're pitching up, so you want to pitch down.
Cool.
And I put jet launch because the most common example of that illusion is on like air carriers launching from the ocean.
Yes. And interestingly enough, one of the reasons, if you ever see cockpit video footage of pilots launching from aircraft carrier, where do they have their hands?
Not on the controls.
Not on the controls. Usually it's like on the dash, or they have like a handle in there, and that's so they don't try to pitch down.
It's crazy.
Cool. Yeah, so a lot of these are very similar. Easy to get confused, easy to kind of associate or piggyback off of one of the other ones, but just keep in mind that they're all different. In the end, they're all different, even though they have very similar components. Okay. What is TRACON? What does it stand for and what is it?
Traffic power, 30 nautical miles.
Within or over 30 nautical miles?
Yeah. Is it terminal radar?
approach control.
Yes.
Getting there. Yeah. I saw the vision. It's been taking me 5 minutes, but I was getting
I
there.
saw the vision.
Yeah, terminal radar approach control. And that's gonna be within the terminal area, so within 30 nautical miles. What kind of information do they provide? What's the purpose? Why would we be talking to Traycon?
Traffic separation, flight following.
They could give us the mercury at the airport we're planning on going to.
Yep, yep.
Would it also include a like flight service station? Or is that separate?
Flight service station would be separate. Yeah, they're not necessarily the ones providing you with approach clearances and traffic separation. They're providing you with things like you can file a flight plan with them, you can get weather from them, stuff like that.
Okay.
What about these, we said within 30 nautical miles, what about the vertical limit, the
Okay.
vertical boundary?
10,000 feet.
Cool. Dude, why is it screen doing this? What about ARTCC? What does that stand for and what is that?
Air Route and Traffic Control Center,
Okay,
is that correct?
yes, what do they do though?
That's for areas outside, that's for controlled airspace outside of the terminal area. Right, so once you get out of once you get out of like a TRACON area, then you're with ARTCC.
Mhm. So yeah, when you're on the radio, right, we leave here, it'll be SoCal.
Mhm.
And then once let's just say we're flying to Vegas and you're out, past Palm Springs in the middle of nowhere, it'll probably be LA Center. And then as we get closer to Vegas, it'll be Las Vegas approach. So the TRACON will be the approach and departure frequencies, and then the ARTCC will be the center frequencies.
Got it.
Cool. And then what about TEC?
Terminal and route control.
Okay, and what is a tech route? A terminal en route control route?
An IFR like flight plan, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a predetermined sort of flight plan. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. So does everybody know how to find the chart supplements in ForeFlight?
Yeah.
Cool. I create a binder with documents that I want easily accessible for each check ride. And pretty much every one of them, but especially my instrument one, this was one of them. So for the Southern California, let me find it. There we go. Tower and route control, tech, Southern California. So when we're here, the second page after this little title page is going to give a little bit of information, but one of the important things is right here, the legend, aircraft classification. You'll notice that there are assigned letters, right? We have J, which is for jet powered, M, turboprop / special, so cruise speed of 190 knots or greater. P is non-jet, cruise speeds 190 knots or less. Q, non-jet, cruise speeds 189 knots or less. So these are going to be important when trying to determine which tech route you want to do, because if you see a J next to it, are we able to do that? No. If we see a Um. Turboprop, are we able to do that? No, so we want to verify that we're able to do it. So, how it's gonna be oriented is in bold. It's gonna show the area, right? Here's the Burbank area. Keep going, coast area. Where do you think Gillespie would be?
Um. I think it's a little up.
Little up?
But
Saw San Diego, so.
I saw the identifier, right?
Oh, and there it is.
Where is it at?
Scroll down a little bit. Oh, I saw it. Sierra.
We're looking for the bold right here.
Oh,
That's because we're trying to fly from Gillespie. San Diego area. Page 633. Let me know when everybody has found it.
You got page 633. I found it.
Okay.
Weird how they removed the K.
Hmm?
It's weird how they removed the K.
That's gonna be for every airport in the United States. So
No,
when,
but still.
because K is the United States identifier, there's
Yeah.
no reason to say it, just like there's no reason to say November 432 Romeo, right?
Mhm.
Our plane is in the United States, we're flying United States, November is just the United States identifier.
Yeah, but still, it feels like in every document they include the K, but maybe not for this.
When we pick up flight following and stuff like that, and they say, where would you like to go? Let's just say we want to go to Hemet.
We don't have to include the K. But
Exactly, they'll get mad sometimes if you do, so you should
Really?
not, yes. Don't include the K, don't include November.
Hmm.
Just keep it short, remember, simple, keep calm, simple.
Hmm.
Right, it's gonna feel like you're speaking like caveman, and that's how it should be. You're an educated caveman in aviation, so. No reason to say the K because we're in the United States. Everybody find the San Diego area.
Yep.
Cool. So right here, it's gonna show if we're flying from certain airports. We see that Gillespie is right here. Somebody pick a destination from right here. Do we want to go to Catalina? Do we want to go to Long Beach, John Wayne, Torrance, Burbank, Van Nuys?
We do San Papa too.
Well, which destination are we going to? Give me a destination and we'll see which route.
Alpha Victor
Santa
X-ray.
Barbara.
Alpha Victor X-ray or Santa Barbara? John, you'll be the deciding factor, which one?
Aaron's asked me
Go
to
party.
do the San Papa too.
Wow, is the question mark?
Okay, we'll do Catalina. AVX is the identifier, right? So we have the from KSEE to Catalina. Now we look, we see there's 1, 2, 3 different routes we could take for Catalina. There's the San Papa 1, San Papa 2, San Papa 2 Romeo, right? On here, on the right side, it's going to show the actual route itself. What does the San Papa 1, San Papa 2, and so on consist of? So could we do San Papa 2?
No.
No?
It says jet and multi.
So
Wait, where on?
what does that mean?
It means multi-engine craft.
Turboprop.
Turboprop.
So, San Papa 2, 2 right, 1. Over here says what the route is, and then altitude, see it says J. That's for jets.
No,
You
M,
also
not
go
M
to
for
It's not for
multi,
multi?
M for turboprop.
Turboprop.
Remember, refer to the legend
Sorry,
at
I'm
the beginning.
gaslighting you.
J is for jets. And it's the turboprop.
So right here, this J100M80, what does that tell us?
10,000, 8,000?
Yep, so for jets, 10,000, turboprop, 8,000.
Oh, it's the demon.
Okay, what about San Papa 2 Romeo, right here? Could we do that one?
No.
No, why?
So we're broke.
We're
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much, yes, we're not flying jets, we're not flying turboprop. Okay, so that leaves us with one. We have San Papa 1. What does PQ60 mean?
Guessing the cruise altitude 6,000 feet.
6,000 feet?
I don't remember what PQ is.
I'm gonna look at the legend real quick.
Non-jet cruise speed 190 knots per breaker.
And then,
For which one, the P or Q?
P.
and then Q is non-jet cruise speed 189 or less.
So is this the route we're able to do?
Yep.
Perfect. So when we file our flight plan, if we want to use a tech route, we would select the San Papa 1. And when we contact ground to get our IFR clearance, we'll say we'd like to open up our IFR flight plan or pick up our IFR flight plan. And it's already filed that we're doing the San Papa 1. So they'll probably just give us a craft clearance. And included in that craft clearance, which I'll go to in a second, will be them telling us then as filed. And as filed is the San Papa 1 that we chose.
So they could basically, like, if you did that, they could basically just give you like vectors to a certain area at the beginning and then to your route and then as filed, because it'll be okay.
Yes,
Like
yes.
MTB's mission, what's that you are?
MZB,
MZB,
Mission Bay,
Mission Bay.
POR, yeah.
So then you just go Mission Bay. So would it be direct to Mission Bay, Victor 23, to Oceanside, Victor 208?
Yeah, so it'd probably be vectors to Mission Bay.
Mhm.
So on departure, turn a certain heading, vectors to Mission Bay, then as filed.
Okay. Cool. Well, that makes it pretty easy because then you kind of just know what to expect.
It is, it
Yeah.
is. It's very
What if
easy.
you request a
That's actually
ground
really
clearance
nice.
and they give you San Papa 2 in the sling?
They won't do that.
That's what happened for my check ride with Aaron.
In the plane,
Oh, not the check ride, but the phase check in the plane, yes.
Sling Festival
They
is
told
pretty.
me San Papa 2.
are you sure about that?
I pretty clearly remember that one.
Unable.
Okay, well, that was a mistake on their end.
Got it.
So what do you tell them?
Unable.
Unable. We're not a jet. So,
Yeah, that's why I was confirming it. It was
yeah, they will not do that.
Maybe you find the legend for this again to know what all the.
First page, just
First
scroll up to where it has the outline of California.
That's north. That's so go to the right. You see like you can just see like the other like southern. You can
Oh.
click that page over bottom right there has like the 4.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
I feel like the only thing that's important is just remember you can only fly on Q. Broke and slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good combo.
wait, never mind. I had it written down in my notes. It was San Papa 3.
We had a nice weekend, so.
Okay. San Papa 3, then yes, we could do that.
You don't know broken slow until you fly 150. That's broken slow.
Yeah?
Is it broken slower?
It's just as slow.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's like one time I was doing cross country and I hit like 100 knots. And hit like 107
One
ground
time.
speed.
One time?
Yeah, like one time I was on cloud 9, dude, coming back from Santa Maria.
Yeah, you might be broke and slow.
So does this make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense than it did yesterday.
Now, I want to show you guys something to make it a little more real life applicable. Everybody go to ForeFlight and go on the Maps tab. Give me a thumbs up when you're there.
I do have a question though. What is the full LGB, SNA, SLI, TOA? Is that 2 torrents or is that 2 Long Beach, Torrance, like any of those.
Which part? Where did you see that?
Cause you know how like it was San Papa 3?
Down here?
Yeah, so
Yeah, so this,
what is that?
from any of these airports to any of these airports.
Any of
So
them?
it's Fulton, Long Beach, John Wayne, Salinas, Torrance. No, SLI Seal Beach.
Yeah,
I thought that was you.
well, SLI is Seal Beach VOR, but the airport is Los Alamitos.
Okay. Okay,
So yeah, the
that's
bold,
what, so there's just multiple indicators, that just means you can go to any of them.
yeah, so from, you could be at Palomar,
That's cool.
go to any of these airports. You could be at Brown, go to any of these airports. Biloxi, any of these
That's so
airports.
nice. So you can,
cheating.
It is.
that's actually,
I
I do
heard
that,
that's
like,
one
my
nice
check
part
ride.
about like Southern
Well, your
California.
check ride, you
plan.
won't be doing,
yeah,
oh, but for the paper novel,
Yeah.
this scenario, yeah.
that's so nice. You can basically just go in, pick your route, and it even says like, okay, you can go from all these airports to any of these options.
And that's what they expect you to do, right? Like,
That's
if
so
you wanna
nice.
use this, just like VFR, paper nav logs, why did you choose this waypoint? Justify it. Explain how you came up with the conclusion that this is the waypoint you're using, this is the route you're using. Why, right? Same thing with this. Why did you choose this route on your paper nav log? Well, this is a tower and route control route, and I chose it because it allows for non-jet, non-turboprop aircraft at 6,000 feet. We're capable of going up to 6,000 feet, and it sets me up for my approach into this airport. So as long as you can justify and explain why, you're on a good path. So
Sweet. Yeah, that's cool.
cool. Does everybody understand this?
Yeah.
Okay, now I want everybody to go to the Maps tab. So you can see the sectional. Thumbs up when you're there.
There.
Hang on. Sorry.
Low IFR. Sectional.
Doesn't matter, this. We're not gonna be necessarily looking at the map, we're gonna be looking at the flight plan.
Okay.
Okay, so I want everybody to click FPL.
Okay.
Now, I want everybody to type in. And this one you have to type in, actually, let me see. Yeah, you have to type in the KSEE.
Reason is for flight is used globally.
Yes. So KSEE to KAVX, there we go. And let's do 6,000 feet. Cool. And then everybody click routes. I think yours will just say routes, not route advisor.
Oh, and it shows that's cool.
San Papa.
San Papa 1, right?
Sun Papa 1, yeah. Does on your guys's, on your phones, does it actually show San Papa 1?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the first thing that pops up.
Okay. Yeah,
Yours is just saying the routes that will be. up.
on the computer, it's a little different. But I personally would always do my flight planning on the iPad. But if you click on San Papa 1 and you select route, right, it's gonna ask you if you want to update to 10,000.
Yeah.
Ignore that, right? We want to do 6,000 because that's what the chart supplement tech route section says. It's gonna load it into your flight plan automatically. And as you see, it loads all these different points. Furthermore, if you click on San Papa 1 in the little text box where you type in your flight plan, you can expand San Papa 1. When you do that, it's gonna tell you whether you're direct, to what location, which Victor Airway, to VOR, to Victor Airway, to VOR, and then direct to the airport. Do you see that, Chad?
Wait, what?
Like that.
I was not listening.
Okay. Click San Papa 1. and then expand. Now it's gonna show you every Victor airway and everything you're on. So
Oh, that's nice.
when putting it into the GPS in the airplane, you now have a broken down Sam Papa 1 where you could input all of those things, knowing that you'll follow those Victor airways.
We're cheating for real.
The thing
So
is, in
what-
the plane, you can't put in Sam Papa one, right?
I was just gonna ask that.
I don't believe so, no.
Yeah, because I tried to do that on my face checking it.
Believe you could load Victor Airways,
Mhm.
but if you were to put, like
Yeah.
it says, Mission Bay, Oceanside, SXC, the Victor Airways, what connects those, right? So you don't have to necessarily load the Victor Airway, it's just you put in those points and it'll take you along that Victor Airway automatically.
Oh, so if you wanted, so if I wanted to load this into the plane, instead of actually having to load the Victor Airways, I could do all these waypoints and it'll,
So what does it say in between Mission Bay and Oceanside?
Victor 2-3.
Victor 2-3. So I'm on the IFR low. Hopefully this loads. Okay, so here we are. See, NG, B, C, N. So if we go down here from Mission Bay up here to Oceanside, which Victor Airways is on,
23.
right? It's already there. And that's because Victor 2-3 connects Mission Bay to Oceanside.
So it'll automatically,
Follow Victor 2-3.
that's cool.
You don't necessarily need to input.
What does
Victor 2-3.
DCT mean?
Direct.
Okay.
So from KSEE, it's
Direct.
automatically having us direct Mission Bay. From SXC, it's having us direct to Catalina. Cool?
Yeah,
So that's kind of the tech routes in a nutshell with in the chart supplements, in for flight, and how you apply it in the plane.
Q.
So let's move on. Identification of nav aids. So every time you input a new frequency into your nav radio, you should identify and verify they're tuned to the correct navigation facility by identifying the facility's Morse code. First, input the new navigation frequency into the active frequency. Second, on the audio panel, turn on the nav1 or nav2 button to hear the Morse code. Third, ensure the Morse code correlates with the appropriate nav aid. So, on our GTN 650, let me see if I'll use this. Sorry, I'm blocking your view. But not sorry. I'm just waiting for you guys to finish writing, and I'll talk.
staring so intently. Write faster.
Yeah, I never met somebody who writes that slow.
I'm a little dyslexic.
Firing on like 2 brain cells this morning, so that's why I took the Magnum class. Oh, reliable.
All reliable. Okay, so GTM 650. You guys can see up here, it says calm and standby, right?
Mhm.
Right? We need to input our nav. You can also do it over here, but I like doing it here personally. If we click this knob, it's gonna change that from calm to nav. Right, so you switch it from comms to nav. And we'll have primary and standby. When we twist this dial or we tap on standby, a little dialog box will come up and we can type in our nav frequency. So what is Mission Bay's frequency? Mission Bay VOR.
117.8.
117.8, so we'll put that in, and it'll now be in standby. How do we switch it to primary? We just tap up here,
Top to top.
and it'll switch it. We have two ways to identify. We will get a 3-letter identifier, which right here it would say in green MZB, and then we can listen to the Morse code. When you're in the nav, it's going to show ID. You have that pulled up. Let's see if you have this app pulled up.
Oh, wait, what is that?
So click this really quick. So you see how when you click the volume knob, now it pops up ID. If you don't see ID there and you go to listen to the audio, you won't
Yeah.
hear it. So you have to click the volume knob in to get
I didn't
ID
know
to
that.
pull up.
Wait, what is that? What's that app?
Called GTN
You
60.
see it?
Yeah, I got it loaded.
Garmin
The only thing I don't have up.
They only have,
Yeah.
yeah, GTN
I
training.
don't think they have that one.
If
They
they
have.
really.
That's good.
Alright, so you have to see the ID to be able to hear the audio. Step 2, we go over here to where the hell is it?
What does SQ mean? If you push this on com.
Where? I don't know, to be honest.
So this one?
I think so. No. Maybe I don't know which one it is.
It should be the blue and like the dark blue and like baby blue kind of,
There's like 3 of them though.
see?
Yeah, there's.
GTN, GXI. It's not the GX.
Just that one.
That first one.
Yeah. So next, we want to listen to the audio. There should be an audio tab over here on the G3X. This one doesn't have it because somebody wanted to put 7 different things for GPS. But there usually will be an audio tab right around here. When you click on audio, it'll bring up a dialog box right here, just like it does with the engine instrument page. And you click on nav. As soon as you click on nav, you're either going to hear one of 2 things. You're going to hear the Morse code, which we would look on the IFR chart to see what the Morse code should be for Mission Bay. Or 2, you'll hear static. Static means that it's out of service and you can't tune to it. Once you get that Morse code, you can click off nav, close the audio dialog box, and you know you're properly tuned to Mission Bay VOR.
I think use the checklist for the 650.
Checklist?
Yeah,
Which checklist?
I was scrolling through utilities and apparently there's a checklist section.
I have not. That is interesting.
Well, I'm curious.
Now you may ask, okay, well, we have fancy GPS. Why would we need to identify? Well, if we're doing a VOR approach, you're gonna need that VOR, you're gonna be on green needles. If we're doing a hold at a VOR on green needles or an arc at a VOR on green needles, you're gonna need to identify that VOR. Or let's just say we are broke and slow and we want to fly 150 that doesn't have any avionics. And we have to be able to tune and identify, listen to the Morse code. So cool. Oh, perfect. Okay, here we go. So we're on nav by clicking this knob right here. We type it into standby, we put it into primary, we'll see that 3-letter identifier, LAX. Click the volume knob to get ID to pop up. And then we go over here to audio. If we don't have the tab up top, we can click menu. And then click on first tab radios, click on nav, and we should hear it. Let's take a 10-15 minute break before we go into ATC clearances and complying.
Lost comms.
We'll get into that, yeah.
I'm not gonna be here tomorrow.
Of course, the day we have a quiz. Seems purposeful, yeah?
It was. That was the goal.
You know, guys, we do have 2 days we're allowed to miss and still get the papers we need.
Tomorrow's an excused absence. I told him. I have a reason, Corey.
What are you doing?
Check ride.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty excused.
That's pretty,
I'm pretty sure that shouldn't count towards my 2 days that I can miss, cause I'd be pretty stressed. I wanna skip those days
no, that, it's
properly.
that, yeah, if that counts, that's fuck.
I get 1 day to miss, that's like kind of insane. Every day, 7 AM. It's messed up.
Is it really 1 day?
It's 2. You have 2 unexcused absences.
Oh, an excuse.
It's an excused absence.
Say why?
Check ride. Ooh, so quiet, so quiet. Oh my god.
No, I was just thinking about how I could be professional. I'm gonna fuck if you This class, which is the most important thing, your knees in your life.
Yeah, you know what he's doing? He's only doing his short and soft field pickup line.
Yeah.
Fucking. Dude.
I'm gonna discontinue because it's too windy.
It was gusting 20, this little
Whatever, I'm
it was gusting 20.
Yeah, you shouldn't have discontinued this check ride.
Yesterday?
No,
Or
last week.
Really, on what?
He just wasn't happy with how he was flying. So he has to go and pretty much redo the VR alpha
Is that the last thing?
and one more approach. So June 9th, hopefully he'll.
Well, did the guy say that he was doing good though?
Apparently when he said I want to discontinue, she was like, why?
He's kind of a
Damn.
perfectionist though.
Yeah.
A lot of your students are,
Doing a check ride? On. Oh, nice. You do it. Next to me. Yeah, you done it right from me.
It's easier though. This is a depressing moment in my life. I don't ever want to go back to it. This room is so cold.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where my jacket is either.
Like, it's fucking freezing. It's actually. Yeah, it's kind of cold in here. Compared to everywhere else. If you go say something though, it's gonna get mad at you.
Yeah, I know.
Ah, why don't you put on a jacket? I have a jacket on. Still cold. For that, let me show you something. So you go to 420, and you go to documents or scratch pad. You can push add and you can literally get like a food on the ground.
That's
There.
nice.
And every time you use it, you can clear. And it's just like that's all the time. So you can just add that and use it. I'll use that for
I'm
like,
stoked.
this is what I use for my ADIS. You can like literally just,
Yeah, I've used that. I've used that before.
yeah.
Okay. So one thing I want to introduce before we kind of go into ATC clearances is a craft clearance. Craft is an acronym of many that we use for aviation. But craft is specifically used for sorry, my allergies are acting up, so bear with me. My eyes are really tingly.
Unacceptable.
I know. C, clearance limit. So this is where we are cleared to. It's usually gonna be an airport. So you'll most likely be cleared to an airport. Then they'll give you a route, so it'll clear to Catalina Airport via right turn heading 165. Vectors to Mission Bay VOR, then as filed.
If you want, I can hop up there and you can give me crowd clearance and I can write it out.
Just wrote down that one first.
Okay, yeah, let me talk about each thing first and then I'll give you one. So they're gonna give you the route. Altitude, they're gonna give you an assigned altitude and then potentially an expected. An expected altitude will be after a certain amount of time. You're expected to climb up to that. We'll go into that of why that's the case. Frequency will be your departure frequency. Departure frequency is that TRACON or the ARTC. That was a question.
Tragon.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. And then transponder will be the transponder code you squawk that is assigned specifically to you. So I'm gonna let all you guys try to copy down a clearance. And we'll go from there. Let me know when you guys are ready.
Hold on, can I be fancy and get on my iPad?
Yeah.
I'm an iPad kid now.
Number 3. Number 4. 5. Big numbers. Big numbers. Putting up record-breaking performance. Wait, how many do you have in right now?
I have 2. I don't have 5.
Corey, I
You
should have.
lied to me.
I forgot to save one for you. I had this can of Zans basically Zans I brought back from Sweden. It was 17 milligrams.
Oh, dude.
It was like a freight train hitting your dome.
Yeah, I would die on the spot and have to call out of work. So
You give the 6s at this point. If you're gonna double deck, you just
no, because here's my theory.
No, then you're spending twice as much money.
I get that, but I would rather spend twice as much money than to be
Like at a higher
Overwhelmed.
level, yeah.
Right, let's just say I get a little too zooted, I could take one out and I get half the dosage, and then I'm not as overwhelmed.
Or you could just cut sixes in half.
Let's all just start doing good.
As somebody who's in the military and did all that, really inconvenient, because these, you know, you'd never know if I have these in, but the dip, if your lip is fat, you know.
Oh, well, I did, because,
You dip?
no, I didn't, I don't dip. I've done it before, but, no, I said I can tell when you have one in, because when you go on your intro flight with Corey, he just rips out a can of Sins. I'm like, all right, I don't like this place. We're in the plane and we're doing it, I think we're at like the run up or something, Corey's just like.
Oh, God.
That was the fucking highlight of my sling career so far.
I don't do it in front of everybody, I can tell who's
Was
a
it the
chill guy or
mustache?
not.
It
Huh?
was the mustache, right?
It was the
Like,
mustache.
What's up?
Dude, I had 2 cents in when I was on my fucking intro flight anyway.
Yeah, see, there we go.
Brothers and sisters.
Alright, get ready to
okay,
copy
move
a
on,
craft
move on.
clearance. Swing, 1, 2, 3, 4, you are cleared to Catalina Airport, Alpha Victor X-ray. Via right turn heading 165, radar vectors to Mission Bay VOR. Then as filed, climb and maintain 4,000, expect 6,000 in 10 minutes. Departure frequency 132.2, block 0256.
Carry back.
Yes.
So clear to Catalina. On departure, right turn, heading 165, vectors to Mission Bay, then as filed. Climb maintain 4,000, expect 6,000 in 10 minutes after departure. Frequency 132.2, squawk 0257.
Read that correct. Good.
Is there a difference between radar vectors and vectors?
No.
No.
Yeah, I mean, radar vectors is that they have you on radar.
Mhm.
They're vectoring you, so.
So would it be appropriate to just abbreviate it as V?
Yeah, usually abbreviation is the biggest thing. So how I would do it. You guys could do whatever works best for you, but this is what I do. I would do. So clear to Catalina, right turn, heading 165, vectors to Mission Bay. Climb maintain 4,000, expect 6,000 in 10 minutes, departure frequency 132.2, squawk 0256. So that's my shorthand of how I do it. You can find what works best for you. Doesn't matter how you abbreviate it, all that matters is that you write it down correctly and you repeat it back correctly.
Would you write down as filed?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that part. I would write down AF after the Mission Bay. Thank you. Yeah, so that's a craft clearance, right?
Wait, why did you write AF?
As filed. I forgot to include that when I did it, but when I gave you guys it was vector submission bay, then as filed. So I would write, yeah.
Cause like if we had the that tech route from earlier,
Yeah.
so it's like we're getting the right turn, the vector submission bay VOR, which is like the beginning of our tech route, and then it's as filed, so we had the rest of our.
So we're gonna turn right, then they're gonna
Once we're on the heading of 165, we'll vector us.
then they'll bring us to Mission Bay, and then
Yeah.
from Mission Bay we just fly on our own, is what it's saying?
Yeah, and now vector, right, they might give you just turn right heading 270 direct Mission Bay, or they might just say direct Mission Bay. But the as filed, this is assuming that we already filed a flight plan for even stepping in the plane, selecting that San Papa 1. Now, if you don't file ahead of time, the craft clearance will be a little different and it'll be a little longer. When I was leaving Torrance, I picked up IFR for the way back down here, and no joke, it was the fastest I've ever heard a controller give a clearance. And I'm usually pretty good at like with comms and like replying back and copying everything, but I had to ask twice for them to repeat back certain parts. And each time he got faster and faster, like he was doing it on purpose. But that was because I picked up IFR. I said, looking to pick up IFR to Gillespie.
So if you can, like whenever you can, if possible, always file ahead.
Yeah, and you can just do it on your iPad before. You don't have to call the FSS. You can do it on your iPad. You don't have to call the tower, just on your iPad. But when I got that craft clearance, it was something ridiculous like he pretty much gave the routing. That San Papa 3 routing, he broke it down. So it was something like, and this is how fast it was. It was clear to Gillespie Airport on departure, turn right, heading 180, vectors to Seal Beach VOR, then Victor 2-3 to Mission Bay, then Victor 2-4 to blah, blah, blah. Then like it was fast, like even faster than that. And there's a lot of different points in spelling, like there's different GPS waypoints that he was having me go to. So he was spelling them out like Echo Mike, India, Lima, Echo. Like it was a very long craft clearance.
That's too much thinking.
And the further you fly, the further it might be. But if the controller's nice, they might just say, you know, on departure, turn left turn 180, vectors to Seal Beach VOR, then San Papa 3, and then direct Gillespie. So they might just tell you the route, and then you go and look it up in the chart supplements and input it in your GPS. So there's different ways they can do it, but the shortest way will be if you file. Cool?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Compliance with vectors. So vectors are headings assigned by ATC for a pilot to fly. ATC may assign vector headings that guide pilots to join certain Victor airways or to join arrival and instrument approach forces. Pilots should fly these vector headings until established on a certain airway or route, and then turn to continue flight on that particular route. If this has been instruction received by ATC. If a pilot ever feels the vector heading could compromise the safety of flight in a way, they should not hesitate to inform ATC and get amended clearance for vector. So here's gonna be a picture, right? Victor going back off of our route. Right turn heading 165, vectors to Mission Bay, then as filed. We know that as filed, the San Papa 1 is Victor 2-3 from Mission Bay to Oceanside. Everybody agree?
Yep.
Right, that San Papa 1 we looked at goes from Mission Bay to Oceanside, and that's Victor 2-3. So the instructions they might give, bless you. Right, if we do that, bless you. I feel like the last one was fake, but
Yeah.
we'll move on. Well,
Unbelievable.
assuming we do that right turn 165, right? Then they'll give us maybe a vector 270. And maybe they won't have us cross over Mission Bay directly. Maybe they'll give us turn right heading 330 to join Victor 2-3, then as filed. So this is an example. Let's just say we're on a certain heading that's going direct to Mission Bay, and then they give us a different heading to join Victor 2-3, to join that airway, right? Our San Papa 3 route. At that point, 030 is just a reference heading. As soon as that needle, whether it's GPS or green for VOR, starts coming in, we start to turn so we can keep that needle centered. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that vector to join an airway, to join a route, is a reference. Once that needle centers, don't keep flying the heading, right? We should start to turn and intercept as it comes in. Cool.
Did that in the sim yesterday with Kaz.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's pretty fun actually.
All right, now we're on to the most difficult portion,
Fleet. Fleet.
is lost comms.
Do you guys see there's a plane crash today?
What?
Yeah, like a couple hours ago.
Here?
Yeah, Montgomery.
It was a jet.
What?
Oh, it's a jet?
It was a citation.
Oh,
thing.
shit.
It crashed into 15 homes.
15?
Yeah.
Who died?
Wait, what
There's-
I didn't realize it was a jet. What's the neighborhood? I live right by Montgomery.
Yeah, it was in Tierra Santa.
Tierra Santa. I don't know where that's at.
It's here like
Skelly.
Tierra Santa? What freeway is that by?
That's like near the 15. That's where my girlfriend used to live.
15?
Yeah, I think so.
How do you,
Yeah, so there's
how do you
Montgomery.
spell Tierra Santa?
TIERRA Santa.
Oh. Okay, so it's a little bit east. I live on the west side of Montgomery. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
Good morning.
Do you have the USB-C HDMI cable?
Good morning.
Can I check out? As I get down,
This one, you just want the plug or the whole thing?
the whole thing. Is it clear?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I don't think I'll need it. So.
I. Have
Yeah, just trying to plan the future and
future.
get him going, so.
Sounds good.
Lost comms. Comms are one of the most important things in aviation, so really work on that. They could save your life. They could also fail you on the check ride. But lost comms. Selecting the route to fly, so. In lost comm situation, there's two things we need to determine, route and altitude. And there's gonna be an acronym we'll go over for it. But if lost comms is experienced in VFR conditions, the pilot should remain in VFR conditions and proceed to the nearest suitable airport for landing. And then you'll treat it as normal lost comms, right? You'll squawk 7,600, you'll overfly the traffic pattern altitude, looking for that light gun signal, and then landing. First, you're troubleshooting though. Make sure everything's plugged in, you're on the right frequency, stuff like that.
Unless you're on takeoff, right?
Um,
You're probably not gonna notice long enough, but if you're on takeoff and you're about to head into the IFR conditions.
yeah, usually they're pretty quick at switching over to SoCal. So if you contact SoCal and you don't hear anything back, and you go back to Gillespie frequency and you don't hear anything back, stay in VFR conditions. VFR conditions are experienced anytime after comms are lost. The pilot should, okay, I already read that. So we have lost comm in VFR conditions. We want to remain in VFR and land. If we have lost comms in IFR conditions, we want to fly into VFR conditions, remain VFR and land. Now that might be a little hard if we're in the clouds, you don't know where the cloud layer is, you don't know where the clouds itself end, right? So how you fly in VFR conditions, well, you do the best of your ability. But that's why we have an acronym that we're gonna be using.
That's like if you're on like an IFR flight plan and like maybe you're like, there's no clouds in the area and then you lose it, then you just like, you can like deviate and like.
Well,
Go to like.
the goal is to fly into VFR conditions. Now that if you're in IMC, does that mean that you'll be able to? Maybe not necessarily, but that's why we have an acronym that we follow for the routing portion. So if lost comms are experienced in instrument conditions, we use this acronym called Avenue F, AVEF. The A stands for assigned route. Fly whatever route ATC last assigned. In this acronym, you're going to go in order. You're going to start with A, V, E, and then F. So first thing we're doing is we're flying the assigned route that ATC last assigned. If a route has not been assigned, then we move to the vectors. You'll fly the last vector received from ATC to join a route segment. If a vector to route segment has not been assigned, then you fly your expected route. Fly the route ATC has advised the pilot to expect. If an expected route has not been received, then you fly your filed route. Fly the route filed in the flight plan. So with our craft clearance, We're cleared to Catalina. After departure, right turn 165, radar vectors to Mission Bay, then as filed. Let's just say we just take off and we get passed on to to SoCal on 132.2. We check in with them. They come back to us. And then we try to call them one more time, and it's just radio silence. So let's just say at this point, we've turned to our heading of 165, or right heading of 165, and we lose comms. What are we doing?
Can you repeat the scenario one more time?
So we lose comms after we've turned to our heading of 165.
So we kind of have to return to our heading. We weren't assigned anything by ATC, so we fly our.
You fly direct to Mission Bay VOR,
Yeah.
so that's what you'd expect, and then as filed.
Yep. That's it. You just go direct. So even though we were told vectors to Mission Bay, we're expected to pretty much go direct to Mission Bay. So there wasn't an assigned, we're already flying the vector of, the heading of 165, but our expected is direct to Mission Bay. And then as filed, or filed route of our San Papa 1. So pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
And eventually we're gonna keep flying along. Maybe we'll get comms back, maybe we won't. But now the question comes, okay, well, I'm cleared. What are we cleared to?
Catalina.
Expect 6,000.
Where are we cleared to? What's our clearance limit?
Catalina.
Catalina, right? So we're flying with no comms. We're on the as filed portion, San Papa 3. Do we just go and land at Catalina? Like,
Well, if we have
whenever,
no comms, we need to overfly, squawk, and check for Leica.
Catalina's untowered airport.
Oh yeah,
Is there a certain time we maybe want to land at Catalina?
certain time.
Yeah,
When it's closed.
no, not when it's closed.
The whole time?
Okay, our as filed, we're gonna have an ETD,
Mhm.
estimated time of departure, and an ETA. So we're gonna wanna land at Catalina as close to our ETA as possible. That's the goal, right?
Mhm.
So we're flying as filed, direct Mission Bay, as filed, San Papa 3, landing at Catalina, close to our ETA as possible.
Mhm.
Cool? So this is the routing portion.
Wait.
Would you just slow down your cruise speed if you're going too fast, or?
So if you got to Catalina a lot sooner, let's just say we're in clouds the entire way.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to do an instrument approach at Catalina. We would maybe want to hold at the VOR, which would probably be the initial approach fix, so the starting point of our approach. We want to hold there until we reach our close to our ETA time,
Hmm.
and then execute the approach and land.
Got it. If there is, this is a non-towered airport, if there was traffic there, who would let them know that you would come in?
You. Who do we talk to at non-tower airports?
You're not on CTAF.
CTAP. We
If
just,
you have radio failure.
oh, sorry, you're right.
Oh yeah.
Duh.
That's when you whip out that handheld.
So you would be in
calling.
IMC conditions, I know, you would be in IMC conditions, so you would just. Lost comms has a lot to do with pilot discretion, right? You're gonna do whatever you need to do to make sure you're fine.
You don't legally need comms anyways at an untowered airport, so.
Yeah,
You know,
but if
that's
you're
the-
flying into IMC, the only other people there that are flying into that airport are doing the instrument approaches as well. So traffic won't be the same as what it's gonna be on a VFR day where you have a bunch of people coming in and out.
Got it.
So you would still just execute that approach and land as close to your ETA as possible.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the routing portion. We also have to select an altitude to fly. We use this acronym called MEA. If lost comms is experiencing instrument conditions, you want to select the highest of the following altitudes for each new leg segment. Bless you. So the M is our minimum en route altitude. Our E is expected altitude. Our A is our assigned altitude. So in this craft clearance, what was our assigned altitude?
6,000,
Are we sure?
wasn't it? No, 4,000.
4,000. What was our expect altitude?
6,000.
What is our MEA on the San Papa 3?
6,000.
6,000. So what is the highest altitude? 6,000. What are we flying? 6,000. Now it might come to the question of, okay, but we have expect 6,000 in 10 minutes. Why do they give us an expect time of 10 minutes? What could be some reasons?
Traffic.
Traffic, right? So there might be
Larger.
traffic that they have planned to be flying across your flight path at maybe 5,000 feet or even 6,000 feet. So that's why they want you to wait. Also, lost comms, right? They give you an expected so you know what to do in case you lose comms. So what you would do is you can fly 4,000 after those 10 minutes, after you start that timer on takeoff, you're going to climb up to 6,000 and stay at 6,000 unless there's a higher altitude, a higher MEA for that San Papa 3 route. If we look on our routing here, we always want to verify by looking at the routing. So right here we have our MEA for Victor 2-3 of 3,000 feet, right? We get to Oceanside, we're following Victor 208. We have another MEA of 3,000 feet. Oops, fuck. Another MEA of 3,000 feet, and then it's direct to Catalina to do the approach. So our expected is 6,000. That's the highest. That's what we want to fly.
So you just compare all three and choose the highest. There's no,
Yes.
it's not like
It's not going in
order,
order. It's choosing the highest. Yeah.
minimum expected.
So MEA Avenue F. MEA is the minimum en route altitude. Expected assigned, you're choosing the highest. And then for the routing, Avenue F, assigned, vectored, expected, filed. And you're going in order with what ATC gave you.
The altitude under the MEA on this with the asterisk 2,000, that's the, isn't that for minimum altitude needed to have comms, or what's that for again?
Oh, God. Yeah. Have me do this. Austin, what is that?
You're thinking of the receiving altitude that would have an R, I think.
No, it's got a,
But the asterisk. I don't remember. Yeah, that is, I can't think of it.
Did you ask?
was asking about the, under the MEA. On the route, it says the MEA, right, it's 3,000, under it is an asterisk, and it says 2,000.
Our MOCA, minimum obstruction clearance altitude, provides obstacle clearance but might not offer continuous reliable navigation. So this is the lowest we can fly for obstacle clearance, but we might not have navigation reception.
Because of like terrain or something?
Yeah,
Could be because of terrain.
Where'd you see Mocha?
but you're guaranteed.
He looked it up, but-
Oh,
Yeah.
you saw that, like, is that what you're saying?
That's gonna be the asterisk.
Yeah,
2400?
it is on.
Yeah,
I
and they
think
Yeah, I know.
Of course.
I don't have my iPad with me, so I couldn't go look it up.
3,000 MEA, the little star, 2,000 that's.
Yeah.
So you said the MEA acronym for this was first MEA, then expected, then assigned vector, or wait,
further altitude.
yeah,
MEA, expected, assigned, and you're choosing the highest fly. And then the routing, avenue F, AVEF, assigned, vector, expected, as filed.
got it.
Cool? Cool.
Lost my-
Move on then. So here is another example of selecting altitude to fly. If columns is experienced in instrument conditions, we're selecting the highest, right? MEA avenue expected and assigned. So let's say we have lost columns right here. Our MEA is 12,000, expected is 11,000, and assigned is 10,000. What are we flying on this segment 1 of the route?
MEA,
Of 12,000. After this waypoint, right? We cross the waypoint in our segment 2. Our expected is 11,000, assigned is 10,000, MEA is 9,000. What are we flying?
the expected.
The expected. So in our scenario, we just looked and saw that the MEA from Mission Bay to Oceanside and Oceanside to Catalina VOR is 3,000. What are we flying?
4,000.
That was our
Fine or
assigned,
expected,
our expected of
6,000.
6,000. We're still gonna fly the 6,000. Cool?
Cool.
Okay, so kind of like what I already talked about, when the clearance limit is a point from which an approach begins. So that would be, let's just say our clearance limit was Catalina VOR, right? That's where the instrument approach is going to begin. If an EFC time, expect further clearance has been received, commence the descent and approach as close as possible to the EFC time. So if we arrive at or after the EFC time to our waypoint, to our clearance limit, we commence the descent and the approach. If we arrive to the point prior to our EFC time, we hold until the EFC time and then commence the approach. If an EFC time is not given, that's when we arrive or start the approach as close to our ETA as possible. Does that make sense?
So what would that be, like, what do you mean by that? Like,
So expect further clearance, typically it'll be when you are doing a hold, they'll give you an EFC time. Because why do we do holds? Well, multitude of reasons. Traffic delays at an airport, they're trying to create separation to get aircraft in. Weather might be pretty bad at an airport. Controllers just overwhelmed and they need to, space everything out. They might tell you to hold somewhere, and all you're doing are those holding patterns. And it might give you an EFC time, expect further clearance, and that's when you can expect to receive further clearance, right? They'll tell you, okay, EFC time is 1200 Zulu. Well, at 1200 Zulu, you should expect to be told to fly direct somewhere or descend or vector somewhere.
Isn't that sort of so the EFC time is mostly for holds, right? So they'll tell you to hold and then they'll give you the EFC time, which is like 15 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever from the time you entered. And then if you don't hear back from them by then, you proceed.
In a lost comms
They don't
situation.
give lost comms.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's just say we lose comms from Oceanside to Catalina VOR, right? Somewhere in the middle of the ocean or as we're approaching the island. And they're like, all right, we have other aircraft coming in, hold at Catalina VOR, expect further clearance, 1330 Zulu, so 1330. We're like, all right, we're gonna hold at Catalina VOR as published, expect further clearance time, 1330. We lose comms, right? We get to the VOR and we let them know we're established in the hold, no reply. We're holding. Our expect further clearance time comes around, we try to contact them, no reply. Well, lost comms. So at 13:30 is when we start that descent and we execute the approach. Now, in our situation, we weren't given an EFC time. We were just given cleared to Catalina Airport. And let's just say on our filed flight plan, our ETA was 13:30. Well, if we arrive at Catalina VOR at 1300, what are we doing for the next 30 minutes?
Holding.
We're holding. Let's just say we arrive at Catalina VOR at 13:25. We're shooting the approach. So the two situations, either EFC or ETA, but you want to start that approach as close to either the EFC or ETA, whatever you're given.
Okay, so then you're holding, you have your EFC, you lose comms. That's when you make the decision, make the approach as close to the EFC as you can.
Yes. Yes.
Got it.
Cool.
Cool.
We already went over this one. When clearance limit is not a point from which an approach begins, if an EFC time, expect further clearance time has been received, leave clearance limit at EFC time and proceed to a fix from which an instrument approach begins. So Catalina VOR is where the approach begins. So that wouldn't be a good example. But let's just say we were cleared to let's just say we were cleared only to Oceanside, right? And our EFC time, we were told to hold at Oceanside VOR, and our EFC time was 13:30, right? We lose comms somewhere right here. We're gonna be holding at Oceanside until 13:30, our ESC time, and proceeding to a point to which the approach can be made. Where's that point? That point's gonna be all the way over here at Catalina VOR, because that's where the initial approach fix is for that instrument approach into Catalina.
Got it.
Good, cool.
Can I copy that? Wait, yeah, 1 sec.
Okay.
Wait, is this EFC time, is this even if you have radio?
Say again?
Is this EFC time even if you aren't lost comms?
Yeah, so EFC is just a part of instrument procedures. So even if your comms are working fine, you might get an EFC time. It's just, they need to space things out.
Yeah.
So if they have 10 aircraft coming into Catalina, you're number 11 in the queue, you're gonna be given an EFC time so they could get those 10 other aircraft in before you. Right, they keep it sequential, they keep it in order, so they'll be given the EFC time.
Got
Yep.
What if you're at a clearance limit? So I guess it'd be the same thing if you didn't get an EFC, what would happen if you go to your clearance limit, you don't have an EFC? Do you just go in no comms?
Close to your ETA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I continue?
Yeah.
Arriving at the clearance limit. When the clearance limit is not a point from which the approach begins, if an EFC time has not been received, leave the clearance limit and proceed to a fix from which the approach begins. Then commence the descent as close to the ETA. So let's just say we arrive at or after the ETA time. We have our other waypoint, our waypoint at which the approach begins, which would be Catalina VOR. We descend down and start the approach. If we arrive prior to the ETA, we keep continuing from the other waypoint. And then we go to the waypoint which our approach can be made, and we hold until the ETA time, and then we descend down and do the approach. So whether we have an EFC or ETA, you want to start the approach and land as close to either or as possible.
And
And it's always gonna be from where the approach could be made. So if we lose, if our clearance limit was Oceanside VOR, we're not starting an approach from Oceanside VOR, it's all the way, across the ocean. So we have to go to where the approach can be made, which is Catalina VOR,
And then you'd wait for your ETA.
wait for an ETA.
So the only time like you would shoot it on like the time or from like the EFC time is if you were holding at the approach point.
Most likely they would give you EFC time for a hold.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of a scenario where you're given the EFC time
Like over ocean
while
side.
not holding. Yeah,
So it'd be like. So most of the time, then you're gonna just shoot your approach when you're expecting to get that clearance, like when they told you expect the clearance now.
yes.
But then if you're, like you said, if we're flying the ocean side, they give it to us there, we would just hold until that time, and then we would go over to the approach area, and we wouldn't just shoot it. Then we would hold over there until our ETA and then shoot it, is what you're saying. Or if we got the EFC at Oceanside, would we just hold until the EFC and then go in and shoot it and
So
not?
I think that
hold?
would be kind of a double whammy. So if you're given, let's just say you're given an EFC time. And you're holding the Oceanside, right? You get the
Yeah.
Oceanside before your EFC time, you're gonna hold.
Yeah,
At your EFC time, you're gonna leave and depart and go to Catalina VOR
Mhm.
to where your approach can be made.
yeah,
And let's just say hypothetically speaking, you're somehow 30 minutes before your ETA time,
yeah,
then you can hold at Catalina and then shoot the approach.
30 minutes
Um,
after.
But most likely, if you're holding, you're gonna be arriving
Close to your ETA?
closer after ETA and you're just gonna shoot the approach.
Yeah, because you don't plan for 20 aircraft to be arriving before you.
Exactly. Yeah, when you file that plan, that flight plan, your ETA is 2 PM, right? You plan for you just flying that route, however long it takes, to Catalina, you arrive at 2 PM. You're not accounting for 20 aircraft that might be trying to get it to Catalina before you. So most likely your ETA time, you're gonna arrive after that, and you just go in and shoot the approach.
quick question.
Mhm.
If your clearance limit is a VOR, it's not your destination airport. Do they give you the instructions to hold in your craft clearance, or is that?
No, that would be something that would come like in flight.
Okay,
So the question is, okay, how do I hold somewhere? Well, most places have a published hold.
yeah,
Like Mission Bay has a published hold where you hold Oceanside, where you hold west of the VOR.
Oh.
So you would just do that published hold.
okay,
Let's just say you got the hold instructions before you lost comms, you would hold as however they told you to hold. They'll give you that. It wouldn't be that soon in the craft clearance. It would be something that you would get while in flight.
in flight. And should you just like pretty much expect to have to do a hold if you, let's say that you filed your flight plan to Catalina and they give you in your craft, they give you a clearance limit of Oceanside VOR.
Mhm.
So would you just expect and be like, okay, well, I'm probably gonna have to hold at Oceanside? Unless they give me further clearance while I'm just en route? Does that ever happen?
Say that last part again.
So if you file your flight plan to Catalina, but in your craft, they only give you clearance to Oceanside VOR.
Okay.
So do you kind of go into that flight just expecting to have to do a hold, or would they give you a further clearance while en route?
They would probably give you further clearance while en route. It would
Okay.
probably be on the first contact. They'll just tell you to, I don't know, let's just say proceed direct to Oceanside and then it's filed.
Okay.
And you know, right, what you filed. So even if your clearance limit is only Oceanside, you know that there's gonna be Victor 208 from Oceanside to Catalina VOR and then direct to the airport. So you're gonna be
Yeah.
executing that as filed portion. But most likely they'll give you more information.
Okay, yeah,
But if
I
they
was just
don't-
wondering like if it's like,
You continue with as filed.
alright, cool.
I just did look it up as well, Catalina's VOR does have a published code and it's 10 DME.
A 10 DME hold,
Yeah, it's long.
where'd you see that at? That's a very long hold.
Oh, it is.
It's literally the entire island. Do you guys know how to load the hold as published? Okay.
Well, here, are you guys on holds yet? You're not. Are you on holds in your
I
train?
mean, I've seen like twice, we
I'm
started.
doing holds today in the sim,
Okay,
and
I would hold off on that, just let them get into that.
I
I
did it
finished
last time,
I finished my King's Pool.
Well, that's good.
I didn't.
Then, yeah, let's
I'm learning
wait
about
on that.
Holds confuse the shit out of me.
Where are you seeing that published hold?
If you wanna come look at my tablet.
Yeah.
Like if you hold it like 10.
Yeah.
It says 10, and it just goes all the way out there.
Oh, so you click on it and then you.
Okay, so how you do it, you click on the VOR and hold as published, set up as published, and then it'll show you exactly.
Whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you have your flight plan, it'll show you the entry as
Yeah, it'll
well.
show you the entry too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice,
Yeah.
because I was doing my online ground school
There's
and
a fly pretty much all the way.
figuring out those entries without economics to tell you is confusing as shit to
Oh,
me.
this is crazy long.
It is really long.
I mean, yeah, exactly, it's like King's Island.
Yeah.
With
Actually, I don't think I did hold yet, that's definitely now. Okay, Larry.
with
I think I must have done ours or something, I don't know. Something to deal with you. Forget.
with that being said, though, yes, ForeFlight shows that as the published hold, but technology doesn't necessarily mean that's the published hold. So first thing you want to look at is the low IFR chart. Do we see a published hold on the low IFR chart?
The normal thing it shows?
Yeah. No, so we don't see that. Okay, what about,
What does it normally show?
It would show me.
Yeah, the best example.
it would show like a little oval, like it would show a hold.
Yeah, it'll look at right at intersection, you'll see it.
So it would show,
Right, it's published.
Oh, I see.
at least a kind of a rabbit hole
So it would show a published hold, right?
on the low IFR chart itself.
Yes. Or you go to the approach plate for the approach into the airport. And the published hold, right? We don't see one on the little IFR chart, but everybody go to procedures, click on Catalina Airport. Go to procedure. Click on approach. And then click either the VOR DME or the VOR.
Are we beginning, do we use JEP chart to go
We transitioned to JEP charts.
first? Is that what I should
That's
start using?
what I would
Should be
try to
different.
use. So that's gonna be the published hold. Right?
Which,
10 DME is kind of crazy. I don't think that's the actual published hold.
Got it.
So you want to look at either the low IFR chart or the approach plate.
How far is this one?
It's 1 minute standard.
which approach, VOR DME or VOR GPS?
Either or.
Either one, same.
Yeah,
Oh,
look
yeah,
at
that's
the
it.
VOR GPS alpha.
much smaller hold.
right?
Wait,
And
so we do use Jefferson, Kelly makes me use the FAA ones.
really,
I think Cal might say.
Kellen or Kelly?
Kelly makes me use the FAA ones.
Interesting. I'm not sure why some instructors do that, because you're gonna be using Jepson in the airlines,
Mhm.
Oh,
so.
really?
She
Yeah.
said it was for like the airlines, that's why we need to learn on the FAA ones or something like. Cause it's like,
It's not how I understand it. The whole reason Sling got the Jepson chart is because that's the like the industry standard.
Oh, I figured out
What the hell?
why that hold looked crazy. When I went and just clicked on the VOR and then clicked publish hold, it automatically gave the time as 1 minute, and that has it as a very short hold.
Wait, click on it really quick here. Click on the VOR. Can you remove?
Yeah.
Just remove that.
mine is a lot smaller.
Just show me what you actually hear.
Yes,
You could set up a publish report.
so maybe it's.
Yeah. I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't think that's right.
Wait, cause watch, this is what I did. Which on this?
Wait, would this be right? I think this is why.
Set that publish.
So I saw on the push the hold with, but
Yeah.
So,
Set the
Tally
publish.
VOR and then
And that's what you're supposed to do.
publish 1 minute.
Yeah, because otherwise you can customize it. If you make it shorter, you get instructions.
So you do like, if I went to Ocean side, and then I went more hold, I would be set up and published in that route. That's the whole.
Cause that, yeah, OSHA side, when you click setup as published, it
Yeah.
sets it up exactly how it's shown on the approach plate.
Yeah,
But
So-
for Catalina, we click set up and publish.
Yeah, I did that too. I don't know why.
It's weird.
Yeah, even I think.
Someone call the FAA, we have a question.
maybe it has to do with noise
It's
baits.
close, but the inbound is 015, the outbound is 195.
Was that because
It could have to do with noise abatement, or it could also have to do with.
it was inbound?
1015.
What was it that would be?
And then it's in the left.
Would be weird, mostly. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's the published hold.
The thing is. You're right about it.
So it's-
mostly being not populated for the published.
So you have to basically, even though it says publish hold for that, you have to kind of just find out the details and enter it
Yeah,
yourself.
so always look at the low IFR chart and look at the approach plates. Because also, what do you know you're doing when you're holding at or at Catalina? What's the next step you're doing?
Landing
And how are you doing that? Via what?
an approach.
An approach, right? So why do you want to be holding the wrong direction, 10 DME, and the wrong hold when you know the approach starts with a different hold, right? So I don't want us to go down a rabbit hole, but low IFR chart or approach plates.
And when
that's-
you look at the low IFR chart, all you're looking for is like the.
Yeah, so
symbol
an
of a
example
hole.
would be, here, I'll just show you.
And that's what you're looking for in the low IFR.
Yeah, so here is Raya. Common check ride hold. This is hold as published. Right, so here's Raya. Here's the hold. It's gonna be left turns, standard of 1 minute. And then you'll use this VOR radial, right? 076 is gonna be the outbound, 256 is the inbound. So that's how you determine what the published hold is, by looking at the low IFR chart or looking at the approach plate. Does that make sense? Yes, no?
Where's 056? What do you say? What?
Well, 076, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's a radial,
yeah.
so that
That's what it's
extends
coming off of.
outbound
Yeah.
from a VOR.
If we wanted to go in,
In, you just take the reciprocal.
yeah, okay,
So 256.
yeah, yeah.
And this hold at Raya is on that 076 radial. Like this hold right here is on this radial, you see?
You'd start on, if you're going outbound 076, like you'd start on it, like, I'm so.
Everybody stop.
Too deep in the rabbit hole.
Where do you find published holes? Low IFR approach plates.
Approach place.
Simple as that. We're moving
We're
on.
done.
You guys haven't gone into approach, holes yet.
Yeah.
You'll
Let's
get there
stop.
when you get there.
Let's stop.
So
Don't overthink it.
those are the two places where you find holes. Okay?
See.
Um,
Oh my gosh.
so we already talked about the clearance components, right? Clearance limit, your destination airport or an intermediate fix. The route of the flight, altitude, frequency, transponder. Position reports. So these are the following things you should include when you make a position report. Who you are, where you are, altitude, time. ETA to next reporting point, and the name of next reporting point. The type of flight plan is not required in IFR position reports made directly to ATC centers or approach control. Lost comms, we're choosing our route by using Avenue F going in order. And for our altitude, we're using MEA, choosing the highest.
patent.
Yeah, it's
Is that a
just,
screenshot of IFR at a glance or?
I don't know. I don't know where they got this. And then two-way radio comm failures, 91, 185. Step 1, you're choosing the route procedures. Step 2, altitude procedures. Step 3, leaving the clearance limit. So everything we just talked about is displayed in this sort of tree diagram. Good?
Mhm.
And that is all I want us to do.
We're 8 minutes past
Can we
anyway.
go back?
You said we're past?
Yeah, we're 8 minutes past.
What the fuck? No, wait, why didn't anybody fucking tell me?
We're lucky locked in.
Okay,
Go back,
done.
go back,
Everybody
go back,
leave.
go back,
Go
go
home.
back.
No.
Is iPatent important?
I mean, the reporting is important. How you remember it is up to you, but that's the acronym that's used.